Good evening to you all and welcome to the Parken Stadium in Copenhagen. It's a Scandinavian showdown in Euro 2008 qualification as Denmark take on neighbours Sweden in Group F. Hello from me, Adrian Healy. Janusz Michalak is alongside, and Janusz, it's known as a friendly rivalry, but these neighbouring countries face a testing situation in Group F with Northern Ireland currently leading the group.
Well, and that's the incredible thing, but still much to play for, I feel. I think many have said that this is a must-win situation for Denmark. Well, fair play. They can use the 3 points now, but haven't played only 4 games. Really, I think even a draw would be good here. But when you look at the standings here, I mean, Northern Ireland certainly a big surprise. But for Denmark, I think obviously that draw against Northern Ireland was bigger than the loss to Spain, I think. And for Sweden, of course, they have lost to Northern Ireland, so everything comes back to Northern Ireland. What a surprise in this group.
Yes, both sides losing in their last games. Sweden 2-1 at Northern Ireland. Denmark going down by 2-1 at Spain. Denmark, though, have only played 4 games and still have only played 1 game at home prior to tonight. So it is a Scandinavian encounter with a lot on the line. We'll bring you the lineups and take you through to the first half kickoff next. Welcome back to the Parken Stadium in Copenhagen, just in time for the Danish national anthem as we get set for this Scandinavian showdown on a Saturday night here with European qualification points so vital, of course. Morten Olsen had a problem at left back with Niklas Jensen being suspended. It appears, Janusz, the solution might be to move Christian Poulsen back there.
Well, that may be a solution, but I think I'd like to see that watch first 2 or 3 minutes. Of course, Poulsen much better in the center of the midfield, but sometimes you have to do what you have to do. But really, the strength of this team is right there with Jan Dahl Thomason, Romeda, and Jorgensen. And I think, obviously, needing the points, they're going to go into that 4-3-3 system. They're pretty good in the back with Grafgaard and Ager, of course, and Jakobsen, and Poulsen, if he's there, of course, very good in retrieving the ball and moving the ball on.
Yes, Thomas Grafgaard, the scorer of Denmark's lone goal last time out in that 2-1 defeat in Spain. It was the Danes' first defeat of this qualification campaign, which, as I mentioned, has only seen them play 4 games so far. Their only previous home game, Janusz, was a 0-0 draw at home against Northern Ireland, which, as it's turned out, doesn't look like that bad a result.
Well, it doesn't. I mean, so many surprises we've talked about, and on paper, it is a surprise. You got to win your home games, as you mentioned. Denmark still have plenty of home games and so much to play for. Just 4 games here, and with this sort of atmosphere, you'd like to think that Denmark are going to go forward. And you see it here for Sweden. A little bit of surprise with Elmander there. Abak, I thought, was going to play. Zlatan Ibrahimovic, of course, coming off injury, perhaps playing away. He's the manager's going to save him till a little bit later. Rosenberg's been on fire for Werder Bremen as well, but strength everywhere. And Ljungberg, of course, not sure if Linderoth is going to end up on the right side of the midfield. We're more accustomed of seeing him in the center of the midfield as a holding midfielder.
Yes, the likelihood is Christian Wilhelmsson will patrol the right-hand flank, the man who's been playing for AS Roma in the Italian Serie A this season. So Elmander and Albak asked to do the damage up front. Johan Elmander, who plays for Toulouse in France, has 2 goals in his last 3 qualifiers. And of course, the real disappointment for him was one of those goals came in the 2-1 loss at Northern Ireland, which had a lot of people starting to ask questions of Lars Lagerbäck, the Swedish coach. Our referee tonight, Herbert Fandel, the man who took charge of the recent Champions League final, which you were at, Janusz, in Athens.
Well, I suppose the Liverpool supporters will not be happy with him. I don't think that he changed the game. Didn't give Liverpool much, but to be fair to him, I think he let the play go for the most part, and that's what you want to see. You don't want to see the referee being the center of attention, and I think if he continues doing that, he's going to enjoy a pretty good and attacking game here.
Well, these 2 old friendly rivals, as they termed, just across the Öresund bridge, the 2 countries linked by that bridge, and they haven't met since Euro 2004. And we all remember that game, a 2-2 draw, which a lot of people think was a contrived 2-2 draw because it knocked Italy out of the tournament. They've never actually met in Euro qualification stages before, only at the finals themselves.
And right away, you see Poulsen right in the center of the field, as we suspected.
That's Daniel Jensen, the Heerenveen man who was brought down, the late challenge from Linderoth.
More of a slip by Linderoth than anything else.
First chance to go to work for Kallenberg. Thanks kindly for Nielsen. 42,000 in this wonderful arena, the Parken Stadium, which was built and opened in 1992. At that time, of course, Denmark were reigning European champions. They won Euro 92, which was held in Sweden. Jon Dahl Tomasson, who's moved on to Villarreal on loan. It looks like he'll make his stay there a permanent one. He moved from Stuttgart in the winter break. Michael Gravgaard, the rampaging right back for Denmark, loves to get involved in attacks. Kallenberg trying to do just that. It's Jorgensen here. And Olaf Melberg sweeping it away from danger.
Well, there's half opportunity there. You see Jon Dahl Tomasson. I think he just made his run a little bit too early as Rommedahl was looking to cut that ball in. And sometimes you have to show a little bit of patience, and Tomasson didn't do it.
Well, he couldn't be closer together geographically. They couldn't be closer together in terms of the FIFA rankings. Sweden coming in ranked 22 in the world, Denmark 23. And a real scrap developing in Group F. Only 2 teams couldn't qualify. Northern Ireland had the pack, and of course Spain are lurking as well. It's Elmander trying to get things rolling for Sweden. Jakobsen stepping in with determination. Now Martin Jorgensen. The only player out there who plies his trade in Serie A in Italy. Ball seeking out Tomasson. Retrieved by Kallenberg. Denmark dictating the early tempo here. Jensen with the layout for Gravgaard. It's a good run to the byline, but an easy cutout for Petter Hansen.
He's been working on the right-hand side. Rommedahl first and now Gravgaard. But once again, you see Tomasson. I think they're just making the run just a little bit too early and a little bit too deep. And I talked about that patience, and I think at this moment, I suppose the first 10 minutes, look at the supporters.
It was Albach who was wrestled to the ground. He's one of 4 players in the starting lineups who call this stadium home, playing for FC Copenhagen.
Daniel Agger just a little bit late showing stops here, as you see Albach just ready to spray that ball on the outside. Good refereeing. You see it. Here's that play. Just a little bit late. Any complaints from Daniel Agger?
So the first attacking opportunity of note for the Swedes. A posse of 5 players gathered just at the edge of the area awaiting this delivery. A bit too much contact. Olaf Melberg was the player who rose to meet it. But Fandel with his first real decision to make. It's Marcus Albach, Tobias Linderoth for Sweden. Gravgaard and Jakobsen for Denmark. All of them play here week in, week out for FC Copenhagen. A little run in the Champions League this season. This is Daniel Agger stepping in with swagger. Gravgaard out to Christensen, and Rommedahl motoring on as well. Tomasson inside. And the layoff. It was a flowing Denmark move. The end product was a shot dragged wide by Jensen.
Jensen, good movement right there. Just makes you wonder if that ball could have been sprayed to the left here of the players. You see Jorgensen wide open. Not much goes into that. You see Jensen had his mind made up.
Two long-serving coaches involved tonight as well. Morten Olsen for Denmark, who's been at the helm since 2000. Likewise, Lars Lagerbäck for Sweden, who's been in solo charge since 2004 European Championships.
So Jensen this time showing stats, although you can see that he was trying to pull out of it. Just makes you wonder how much Sweden is going to miss Kim Carr.
Oh, that's a loose header and a real opportunity here for Elmander, and he's done it. Johan Elmander with an absolutely straightforward opportunity. It was a disastrous header back, and Elmander simply had to slip it under Sorensen.
We're under pressure as you see it here. I think it's Jakobsen that plays that ball back. Obviously didn't get a shout, didn't look over his shoulder. So the goalkeeper, look at this ball. I mean, that's got to be cleared up. Unfortunately, it isn't. Oh, what a horrible mistake by Grafgard. I tell you what, clinical finishing, a little bit under pressure. I'm not sure if Grafgard is playing that ball. I thought it was Jakobsen initially, but I tell you what, take nothing away from this finish as you see it here. A little bit of nerves here. Good first touch, knowing exactly where the goalkeeper is, in between the legs. 1-0 for Sweden.
Johan Elmander, who plays his club football in France with Toulouse. That's now 3 goals in his last 4 Euro qualifiers. And the early advantage to the visitors. But it was a gift presented by Michael Grafgard. And gratefully accepted by Elmander. Now, how can Denmark inspire to produce? Christiansen and Poulsen.
A disastrous beginning against the run of play. It has to be said. Not that Denmark has had anything really, but a little bit more possession. You saw a couple of movements that were superb as far as the build-up is concerned. And I was just going to say that Sweden perhaps maybe missing Karlström here. It gives him a certain amount of calmness in the midfield, and I think leaves Linderoth there to do the dirty work behind him. But player with superb technique that can spray the ball around a little bit, change the point of attack. But so far, this is the calmness that perhaps Sweden needed.
Long ball as well, and more danger here for Denmark. Elmander is being an absolute pest to them at the moment. He almost nipped in and took this around Sorensen.
Well, Daniel Agger didn't see the run. Deep run right there. I'm sure Sorensen gave him a shout as well. I think he knows it. It was never going to be easy. Maybe if he could just put that ball right in front of the goal, but he's done well. He's been dangerous so far.
Thomas Sorensen, who took over the reins from Peter Schmeichel upon his retirement. And Denmark had, if anything, enjoyed the better of the early exchanges and find themselves a goal down, but they go chiseling away again on the right-hand side. Rommedahl running into trouble. Grafgard. There's a real up-tempo feel to the early stages here. And Denmark have been enjoying perhaps the better of the exchanges, but they turn that into genuine opportunities.
I think, again, there's no reason to panic. I mean, only 10 games in, and I think there's a lot of quality as you see it here. I think they continue to stick with the game plan, whatever that is for them. Keep possession. I think they will get opportunities.
Oh, and there was almost one there as Karlenberg's free kick. Nasty deflection on its way through. It's a nice little flick, wasn't it, from Agger?
Well done. Well, we've seen Daniel Agger, of course, for Liverpool. And the trickery against Chelsea, of course. This was just a bit of a flick here. I suspect if he was just a little bit closer to the goal, that might have been in the back of the net, but you see it there, really 16, 17 yards away. Just trying to redirect the ball.
Elmander again going to work. Albach awaiting the service. It finds it. Marcus Albach with a layoff for Lundberg. There was no space in which to operate.
They got to stay a little bit tighter here. I mean, really, when you look at Sweden, little counter-attacking move, as you see Elmander here. Oh, just before that, look at this. Wilhelmsson's got to maybe try to turn around, shoot. Looks for Freddie Ljungberg. A little bit too tight there for him to do anything. I'd like to see Wilhelmsson have a go at that.
Ljungberg thought he was brought down there by Jakobsen.
Maybe a bit of a push there. We've all wondered, is this going to be a good Swedish team without Zlatan Ibrahimovic and perhaps Rosenberg? You see it here, Elmander, very, very dangerous.
There's been a lot of movement up front, hasn't there? Elmander and Albach finding the little seams of space.
A pretty direct approach from Sweden. I'm a little bit surprised that Denmark hasn't found a way to take care of this. I mean, you almost have to mark Elmander, one in front, one in the back, I think, just in case. But every ball that's going forward somehow finds Elmander. Nobody steps in front of it. Nobody's anticipating that ball, and I think by now they should have.
So the Danish subs line up, including Jesper Grønkjær and the young Arsenal starlet Nicholas Bentner. Promising Denmark move, just ending with the ball played too far ahead of Thomas Karlenberg.
The movement from Denmark has been very, very good. They're finding those open pockets and moving the ball 1-2 touch. Just that last one, even as you saw it here, Karlenberg obviously couldn't get on the end of that one.
Poulsen outside to Jakobsen. Easily picked off by Anders Svensson, though. Centre of the midfield for Sweden. Svensson and Tobias Linderoth operating together there. Svensson for his time with Southampton in the English Premiership. There's Zlatan Ibrahimovic on the bench for Sweden, as is Marcus Rosenberg. Denmark 0, Sweden 1, if you're just joining us here on ESPN. The early breakthrough engineered by Johan Elmander. It was really a self-inflicted wound from the Danish perspective. And the Sweden goal coming in front of most of their fans are congregated in this Parken Stadium. Has had a good season in his first year in France, scored 11 goals for Toulouse, who came good right at the end to get the UEFA Cup spot. Karlenberg was tripped. And Marcus Alberg, most of the Danish fans here know, of course, from his regular exploits for Copenhagen, is the culprit.
Perhaps lucky that he didn't see himself in the book right there from behind. So you wonder what else you need to do to get booked, and this one I thought was pretty cynical.
Christiansen. Quite the ideal delivery from him. Nodded on towards goal, but Isaksson had it covered all the way. Goal for Sweden.
I think it was Grafgaard. You see that clearance not the best. That ball's being put right back into the penalty area, as you see it here. A good snap, just a little bit too far. Couldn't generate more power. As you see it here, hand goal. Grafgaard perhaps needs to redeem himself a little bit after that first goal conceded.
This officially the 98th meeting between these two countries. They used to meet once every season at the end of the year, rather like England and Scotland used to do. That was phased out in the 1980s. Linderoth is favoured role, just sweeping everything up from midfield. It's a good service and a hooked effort on goal, which didn't really get any meat behind it. Marcus Alback off balance.
A great run here on the outside by Alexandersson as he brings it in here. It's still too much freedom for me even to get that shot off. Really didn't get the power, got underneath it a little bit.
Christian Poulsen, such a fabulous year with Sevilla. It's not a bad looking ball. Rommedahl was reading his intentions like a book. Peter Hansen and Olaf Mellberg, the central defensive pairing for Sweden. Move their side forward again. This is Lundberg. off on their travels early on in this qualification campaign. They won that by a goal to nil at Latvia and then 2-1 at Iceland before coming a cropper at Windsor Park against Northern Ireland. And the exploits of David Healy. This is Jorgensen. Inside to Paulson. Again, just failing to connect with Romadal. Sweden on the counter-attack. Paulson will try again. And the pass going astray from Jan Christiansen. Adventurous streak shown by Alexandersson. Now Sweden on the move again, but it's an offside flag that comes up this time. It's Nielsen who is denied. Mikael Nielsen on the far side.
I don't think there'll be any question about that. You see the manager's not so sure, but the replay did not lie.
Lundberg. Romadal immediately breathing down his neck. Freddie Lundberg, who looks like he'll be staying with Arsenal for another couple of years. He has a contract until 2009. He's already their longest-serving player.
And once again, so many injuries for Freddie Lundberg, and just makes you wonder, you know, if Arsenal would fare a little bit better. There's so much talk about how great they play. There's a certain amount of softness there on Arsenal, and obviously Freddie Lundberg have the sort that is very, very soft. Could have added for sure, and I still think there's a place for him there at Arsenal.
Space at a premium as Sweden tried to engineer something in midfield. They have it back though. This perhaps a more promising platform to work from. Lundberg. Close to feeding it through the gap and finding Albach.
A little bit of ball watching as far as Denmark's concerned. I'll tell you, if that ball gets through, you see Albach all free in front of the goal.
Nielsen. Space here for Wilhelmsson. Christian Wilhelmsson for Sweden, trying to extend their advantage, but it was Christiansen who wasn't buying the little manoeuvre. And Christiansen for Denmark to the rescue. And at the expense of this corner, which Tobias Linderoth, the ex-Everton man, will come across and take. Linderof's corner, slided down, unchallenged by Petter Hansen. Now can Denmark take a leaf out of Sweden's book and strike on the counter here? Jorgensen. Falls for Daniel Jensen. Guided into space, Romadal, and surely, what a save that was from Daniel Jensen. Isaacson keeping it out with his legs.
Well, I talked about some of the forwards making runs too deep. As you see that ball being straight out, this is the first time where they waited, and it's a great touch here. Player swinging in the back. What a save that is. I'm not sure how much the goalkeeper knew about that, but that's a little bit better. Somebody showing patience and staying there so the ball can be cut back.
20 minutes gone. It's as close as Denmark have come. Jensen must have thought he'd done enough. Had the keeper going the wrong way. Isaacson, pure reflexes to stick out the leg to deny him. Jorgensen. Full stretch, Kallenberg.
I'm not sure if he recognized that run. Didn't think the ball was going to come to it, but he was important here. Look at Kallenberg just splitting the two defenders right there. Oh, what an opportunity right there. A tremendous save there by Isaacson.
That was beautifully cut back against the grain, wasn't it, by Romadal? But all the defenders wrong-footed.
He's got the pace. He's just got to be very, very patient. I think he's played very, very well. keeping the width of the field right there. And this is probably the second or third, maybe fourth time that he's been found on that right-hand side. And I think they just got to continue going to him, just be patient, and make the run ahead of the ball. See, really, that could have gone either way. Grafgaard, I think, the guilty party.
Grappling with Elmander. That combination that led to the opening goal. And from the Sweden free kick, it's Petter Hansson who's driven it! And rooted to the spot was Thomas Sorensen. Did it take a deflection? It doesn't matter because Sweden have doubled their advantage. And it's a dream start for the visitors.
Just incredible against, once again, against the run of play. That opportunity that Denmark just had, they have to pay. This has had to take a deflection. I mean, it was a tremendous shot here from Hansson, and let's see if that hits the wall. Now, another question, why is there only two? And here's that deflection right there. Oh, my goodness, but you have to ask questions why there's only two players in the wall. Yes, this was from distance, but look at this. Not much goes into that. Just hits it on the way in. Oh, it's Jakobsen, I think, this time. Just incredible for Sweden. When they look at the game, yes, they have been dangerous, but Denmark has to ask questions. Couple opportunities, one great one, didn't take advantage. Well, they left themselves with a lot to do against this Swedish team. It's going to be very, very difficult for Denmark to come back in this game, although still plenty of time.
Petter Hansson with his first ever goal for the national team at the age of 30. It's been a fabulous season for Heerenveen in the Dutch Eredivisie. He's moving to Rennes in the summer to play in France.
I'll tell you, I've been doing the Dutch league for the entire season. I don't remember Petter Hansson taking a shot like this at all.
It remains to be seen whether it'll be given to Hansson or perhaps credited to Jakobsen as an own goal. We'll try and bring you confirmation of that. Here's the free kick for Denmark. It's nodded back into the danger area. Sweden struggling to clear their lines, but eventually do so. Denmark 0, Sweden 2. What a start for Lars Lagerbäck's side, who were so heavily criticised for their loss last time out against Northern Ireland. Elmander has gone down, much to the derision of the Danish crowd. There's Zlatan Ibrahimovic and company. He hasn't been missed so far, has he?
No, and just makes you wonder. You see clearly a foul here. Poulsen coming into Elmander from behind. I think he anticipated that hit. And when you look at Zlatan Ibrahimovic, he may not have to risk him at all. I mean, obviously just coming off the surgery. It has been a question mark. Perhaps that's why he's not in the starting 11. But if this continues, can you stay with what you have?
Christensen. Some meat behind the clearance, but it only works out to Sweden's benefits. Hansson's given it away. Jon Dahl Tomasson delayed, trying to be decisive after the gift from Hansson. Wilhelmsson. He's fast. He's skinned his defenders to the byline, and it's turned in. It just gets better and better for Sweden. It's Elmander again.
I'll tell you what, give credit to Wilhelmsson on the right-hand side. He's been roasting Christensen, and once again, no cover whatsoever. I mean, they're just running away with this. Totally shocked bench, totally shocked. You look at the supporters right now, and Elmander, player of the game. Once again, look at this. Having difficulties here, but look at this 1v1. Look at the distance. Nobody coming over. You know that he's going to engage that defender. A little bit of luck right there. Just gets enough. Sneaks underneath the goalkeeper. 3-0. This could be game.
Christensen was just a spectator as he watched Wilhelmsson go past him. Sorensen hasn't enjoyed a lot of fortune in the early stages here. That's Tudor that got past him via a little deflection or a bobble.
There have been warning signs as far as Christensen's on that left-hand side here, and I'm just surprised that Daniel Agger doesn't come over, or Jakobsen, whoever's on that side at the moment. Somebody, you got to have pressure on the ball, you got to have cover, and you see plenty of pace from Wilhelmsson.
Denmark have a great escape on their hands to make already. This is Elmander, the man of the moment for Sweden. He's just been irrepressible. He's attracting two. Still, they can't shake him off the ball.
Well, incredible confidence shown by Sweden right now. As you see, they're keeping possession. I think they need to continue going forward. I think it's going to be 5 before Denmark scores. If they continue playing like this defensively, really, no cover whatsoever. You look at Albach and look at Elmander. Not a lot of pace for them, but just smart, intelligent runs being made, and they've been rewarded so far.
I wondered what the effect would be on Denmark of missing Niklas Jensen there, first choice left back just for this game. Christiansen has to fill in the utility man who, of course, was a hero for Nuremberg in the German Cup final. Scored the goal of a lifetime to win it. He's been made to forget that event just 7 days ago in a hurry by the roasting he's been given by Wilhelmsson.
Well, players' consensus. I mean, he has been a weak link there on the left-hand side, and Wilhelmsson with a lot of pace, not afraid to engage defenders, take him one-on-one, and I think we're going to see them continue doing that. At least if I'm a manager, I tell Wilhelmsson on the sideline, just continue making those runs.
And the run by Jakobsen yields a corner for Denmark.
Similar to Denmark, really, when you look at Rommedahl on the right-hand side, he's been very, very successful, this time taking Freddie Ljungberg on the line. In the last moment, good recovery.
Peter Hansen conceding it. Lars Jakobsen, who's moving to Nuremberg in the summer to join Christiansen. The one to take this, he's drifted it far post. Sweden closing ranks to deal with the problem. What a difference 7 days make in the life of a professional footballer, Jan Christiansen. As we look at the table at the start of play, Sweden were just a point behind Northern Ireland, having played a game less as well. So you see Denmark a further 5 points off the pace, but with another game in hand. Yeah, it was easy to look at this table and think, well, this might be a must-win game for Denmark, but it rather disguises the fact that they've yet to play most of the minnows in the group. Only played one home game so far.
I think they'll still be in contention, even if they do indeed lose this game. But this is going to put a lot of pressure. I mean, really, they're going to have to run the table to be considered for the second place. I do think that Northern Ireland will drop points somewhere in there. It was too good of a story there. And Sweden, of course, have been the favorites, and they've been on a great run, of course, until the end of the last game. They lost to Northern Ireland 2-1, and a lot of pressure on the manager Lagerbäck, but I'm just not sure why. Sometimes you can lose points, and I think credit's got to go to Northern Ireland for that one.
Well, credit being offered to the referee by the crowd, Herbert Vandel. He gave a handball there against Karlenberg. Northern Ireland, of course, just changed their manager in the gap between the last qualifiers. Sanchez taking over at Fulham, and Nigel Worthington appointed just this week. Marcus Allback, the ex-Aston Villa man who had a great season in the Champions League. He scored against Manchester United, against Celtic and against Benfica. Jorgensen. Jakobsen. Thomason neat and tidy to Rommedahl. It's a free for company. It's an easy pick-off for Anders Svensson. Elmander again is the link man. And Sweden very quick in transition. Wilhelmsson trying to help himself to a piece of the pie this time.
Well, absolutely. I think he needed to go wider, although Daniel Agger this time much closer to Christensen. And the players are starting to figure things out. I'm just afraid it may be a little bit too late with being down 3-0.
So the frustration surfacing for Morten Olsen and this Danish crowd. Simple pass going astray. It's been one of those games, Janusz has just had an aroma of goals about it. And continues to do so. It's been played at such a high tempo. Both teams looking good on the counter-attack.
I agree with you. I just thought it would be a little bit tighter. Of course, I think nobody expected, as you see, Zelman, they're just fighting for every ball taken down. I don't think there's any questions about that. Going down, but you have to feel that Denmark's got to get something before halftime. One goal just to give them a little bit of hope and bring the supporters back into the game. So Paulson going down, just perhaps he needs to be around the ball a little bit more.
Christensen. Lay off for Jensen. It's been a build-up this time from Denmark, but Jorgensen has to settle for the corner. He spent 10 years playing in Italy. 7 with Udinese, the last 3 with Fiorentina, and there's going to be an early switch for Denmark. So Andreasen is going to be brought on, who's a centre-back. They work the short corner. It's Jorgensen. Nowhere to go for now. Jorgensen showing persistence. Across from Karlenberg. It's up for grabs inside the box. A chance for Denmark, and they have pulled a goal back. It's Daniel Agger. A sweet, low left-foot shot, and hope immediately restored for the Danish crowd.
Going to give credit to Grafgaard there as he keeps that ball alive right here. That ball's out for Graf. Look at Grafgaard, just knows exactly what it is, and Agger, not much thinking going. I tell you what, this is a great shot. Didn't have much room, not a lot of space. Had to make his decision early. One good touch to his left foot, and a superb finish here from Daniel Agger.
And how ironic, Janusz, that the touch that kept that play alive for Denmark was off of Johan Elmander. Cannon back. It would have been heading into no man's land, but it cannoned back into a positive area for Denmark, and the end result was that.
Well, that gives them a little bit of hope, and you see Andreasen coming in. Christensen, no surprise there.
It was a torrid half an hour or so for Jan Christensen, but he leaves with his side having restored hope at least. Leon Andreasen, a centre-back, really, who plays in Germany. Belongs to Werder Bremen, but has been loaned out to Mainz since January. Christensen, who won the German Cup for Nuremberg just 7 nights ago, with a goal that will be forever remembered.
Interesting to see what happens there. If Andreasen goes into that left spot, or perhaps Daniel Agger, left-footed player, might slide over a little bit.
More danger here as Alback's close to getting around the back, but immediately Andreasen is in to wrestle him away from the danger area.
It seemed to me on that last play that Jakobsen is playing on the left-hand side. Andreasen there in the center of defense with Agger.
There were 4 goals last time these two sides met in Euro 2004. It's a 2-2 draw on one occasion. We've had 4 goals inside 35 minutes here. Alexanderson, a loose clearance though, which falls for Wilhelmsson. Now Herbert Fender will come back and award the free kick. Good refereeing there, trying to play the advantage.
Yeah, a couple of fouls there, and there's no question there. Very, very late. It's the intention. No contact's being made, but I think the referee making the right call. Could have really called it early. Saying no ball, but you saw there the ball was already released when Ager stepped in. I have to say that I agree with the referee on this one. The initial one that could have been called, and I think Denmark, they're getting away initially.
Moment of real danger for Denmark again as the free kick is curled in invitingly. The header was right at Sorensen. There was an infringement given against Albach. Marcus Albach is hearing it.
I think it's Mellberg here, just got a bit of an elbow right there, although not sure. I think he's got the right to go for the ball. Here's where Poulsen comes in between the two players. I think it was that elbow by Mellberg. Almost called, I suppose.
Walback is 34 in July. He's had a fabulous year for the side that play here, FC Copenhagen. And this time the free kick given against Elmander, who's going to add a booking to his collection of 2 goals in the game. It's the Danish goal scorer Ager who he brought down.
He's been involved. A bit of a long touch there. I think that's what gave Elmander a chance to at least think that he could have gotten to that ball. There's the push. Ager, I think, see that long touch right there, but just runs into him. No question about that. He's been involved, of course, on the positive side now in scoring goals, and he's been working his socks off, so you got to give him credit. I don't think there was anything cynical. Daniel Ager gave him a bit of a reason in thinking that he could get there.
Jorgensen whipping it back across the face of the area. Some indecision amongst the Swedish defensive ranks, but no harm caused. Daniel Ager, his first game since the Champions League final in Athens a week and a half ago. It's the man who has brought Denmark back within some sort of touching distance. They really needed that, certainly before half-time, didn't they?
Well, we've asked for it and we got it. Unfortunately, I think you have a couple key players for Denmark really not doing much. Jan Dahl Tomasson really has been unheard of. I mean, you play in that 4-3-3 system. Jorgensen has been busy somewhat, but more really defensively in chasing the balls, and Rommedahl has been the brightest, in my opinion. They just got to find him a little bit more often.
Wilhelmsson impeded. His opposite number, Jakobsen, who committed the infringement. This will set up Thomas Linderoth, who just decides to perhaps take some of the steam out of the cauldron by getting a short free kick. But Sweden again have found some space. Wilhelmsson back to Alexandersson. And the flick on was removed by Andreasen. Sweden able to maintain possession. Nielsen. Well, was collision just outside the area. Decision has gone against Sweden. Flag was up.
I suppose the right call.
Walback and Ager exchanging words. 5 minutes remain. What has been an enthralling first half if you're just joining us here on ESPN. Just a swift and lethal start by Sweden. Scored after just 7 minutes. Gift of a goal for Orlando, and then they added 3 further minutes in the middle of the half. Denmark's reply, Daniel Ager, has lent a slightly different feel to this game. Jorgensen, can he emulate Wilhelmsson? He's got the cross in, but much more effectively dealt with by Sweden at the back. Smooth transition out of defence with Mikael Nielsen. There's his football in Greece with Panathinaikos, does Nielsen. Well, Denmark didn't concede a goal in their first 3 qualifiers against Iceland, Northern Ireland and Liechtenstein. Conceded 2 against Spain last time out, and already 3 shipped here. Jensen, Karlenberg, Jon Dahl Tomasson declined to the narrow angle shot, and then Jorgensen's cross was headed away from danger. I'm surprised Tomasson didn't take that one on. It was a narrow angle.
No, I actually thought that was a good job for him to keep possession and get the ball to come across. I think it was well marked. It was on his left foot, not his favorite there, and I don't think the angle was there to take it. Just a little bit surprised that he hasn't been more involved in the game in general.
It's been a good form end of the campaign for Villarreal. This is another team wearing yellow on the rampage. It's Freddie Ljungberg for Sweden. Saving tackle from Gravgaard.
I'll tell you what, great recovery as you see it here. Poulsen's got to chase that. He's got to track back that ball. Hits somebody on the way in as you see it here. Andreasen, I think, eventually recovering.
Freddie Ljungberg, the Swedish captain, in his 66th cap tonight. Linderoth just 2 ahead of him in that department. Will come across and take this. It's a very experienced Swedish midfield. And there's Svensson amongst them as well. It's Linderoth right into the outstretched arms of Sorensen. And Andersson, who's the most experienced player of them all for Sweden, is going to be the next player booked for that challenge.
Well, it seems harsh to me initially. I thought he got plenty of the ball right there. Let's see on the replay if he did get the player as well. I think he gets the ball. It's that knee that follows through, but of course, I mean, you have to reach for that ball. I think it's all ball there. You really do. And if you're going to call this a foul, fair play, but I just don't think he needed to be booked.
Andersson in his 99th cap tonight. The man who spent 8 years in England with Sheffield Wednesday and Everton. Final minute of the first half from the Parken Stadium in Copenhagen. The offside have a rescue bid on their hands. They've got 1 foot on the ladder with Daniel Agger's goal, but Sweden still comfortably in charge. The Danes trying to make more waves before the break. This is Rommedahl. Rommedahl driving for the byline. Earns a corner. It's only going to be 1 minute of additional time.
A great recovery, but look at the difference. Look at Hansen. I mean, there's that coverage. We've talked about that Denmark has had all kinds of problems. Christensen initially, Daniel Agger not coming over. This was perfect defending there. Defender tracking in center half.
Rommedahl's laid it short and invitingly. Disappointing in the end, and Morten Olsen has seen chances go astray for his side.
Really disappointing, as you see the Swedish defense did not read that corner early enough. You saw Freddie Ljungberg closing the space, just making him a little bit nervous. I think that pressure was just enough to get underneath that ball.
Jakobsen sending it ballooning over the top. Rommedahl. Last few seconds, just time to get it into the box one more time, perhaps. We'll have to hurry, though. Jorgensen. Look on, finding Jon Dahl Tomasson. The layoff, Rommedahl. And it's well worked finally, when the ball was slid across the 6-yard box, Daniel Jensen, being close to scoring earlier on, was just trailing the play.
Yeah, he starts that move with a little bit of a flick on, but just didn't finish his run. Oh, then so you see that ball, Anderson, I think he's looking for him on that far post just to top it in. A lot of positives in the attack for Denmark. It's just, in the end, it's been a very, very difficult first half.
Well, it's been a 4-goal first half, with 2 for Johan Elmander. And dispersed by Petter Hansen's strike, putting Sweden in a commanding position, 3-0 up. But Daniel Lager getting 1 back for Denmark. But it's 3-1 to the visitors after 45 minutes. Welcome back as we look down on the Parken Stadium here in Copenhagen. It's a full weekend of UEFA Euro 2008 qualifying action here on ESPN, and really a choice game for you here. This Scandinavian showdown, the clash of near neighbours, Denmark and Sweden, 2 countries separated by just the smallest of bodies of water, connected by the Øresund Bridge. They're friendly rivals in many ways, and what we've had, Janusz, is very entertaining first 45 minutes so far.
Nothing friendly about this game, and a bit of a surprise, of course, with Sweden jumping up to that 3-0 lead. And you got to give them credit. I think they were well organized. If you look at all the formation, they have that extra person in the midfield, and I think they've done a better job. You look at Wilhelmsson on the right, and you see Linderoth really being the anchor there with Svensson in front of him. You know, Freddie Ljungberg on one side, and as I mentioned, Wilhelmsson, they're doing a lot of damage at the moment. And although Daniel Jensen for Denmark has been positive, I think Poulsen has been a bit of a surprise on the minus side for me, and clearly they have been a little bit better in winning that ball in that important part of the pitch.
Morten Olsen, it appears, is about to make a change right at the start of the second half as we continue to bring you other scores from around Europe. Greece have a 2-0 lead against Hungary in the first half. Bulgaria are a goal up at half-time against Belarus in Group G. Those are the only other goals so far. Latvia and Spain is the other game happening in this group. It'll be Thomas Kallenberg who's going to be removed for Denmark. Who suspected there might be changes in the Danish midfield, and well, it's Nicklas Bentner who's going to be thrown on. He's a young forward who had such a good season with Birmingham City in the English Championship. Belongs to Arsenal. Is going back there next year.
Well, a lot more pace in Bentner there, obviously an attacking player, although I have to say that Kallenberg, for me, was one of the better players in the first half. At least his distribution, and he had the ability to find Romeda on that right-hand side on many occasions.
And Bentner almost getting involved immediately. Jon Dahl Tomasson is in the thick of the action too. Quiet first half for the Villarreal main. This was a knockdown, though, from Bentner, and Tomasson missed his kick. Would have been a dynamic and dynamite start for this Danish side, who really need to try and wrestle the initiative away from Sweden. So 2 changes already for Morten Olsen, the Danish coach. And removed Christensen and brought on Andreasen in defence. And that seemed to have the desired effect after about half an hour, albeit with a side 3 goals down. Janusz, at least it helped to stem the flow.
Well, Jakobsen has done a pretty good job on Wilhelmsson there. There's no question about that. I think there's a little bit of a message in cover, as I mentioned, as Ager seems to be shifting over a little bit when you see Wilhelmsson being isolated. And, you know, obviously at speed, so difficult to mark.
Well, Sorensen had to come out with Elmander shrugging off the defender. Wilhelmsson. This time the layoff for Alexanderson. It was Jensen who stretched out a leg just to intervene. And Denmark are on their way. This is Jakobsen. He was bundled over.
I think Freddie Ljungberg got a little bit of both, as you see it here. Touches the ball, but no question about that, and taking Jakobsen down in the process as well.
Andreasen making his way forward, but Romadal had taken his eye off the ball. A little moment. Denmark haven't failed to qualify for the European Championships since 1980. A long unbroken run that would be in real danger if to succumb to a defeat here. Of course, they didn't qualify for the World Cup finals last summer in Germany. They finished third in their qualification group behind Ukraine and Turkey. Working hard, Elmander, but stretching in vain to keep it in play. Andreasen. It's Denmark rolling again. Daniel Agger. Entering into the Swedish half. It's a good-looking delivery, which was so close to yielding a dividend. Just offside was Jorgensen.
Not by much, although when you see it on the second look, I think he made that run on the inside of the defender, that diagonal run. I think he still would have gotten in front of him. It was a smart run, unfortunately, on the wrong side of the Swedish defense.
Up goes Elmander, but Gravgaard effecting the clearance. But a choppy start to this second half. Linderoth standing over the ball for Sweden. Amanda's nod on, just eluded Alback. Now Jensen. Picked out Jorgensen. It's two to work again. Actually, it's Nicholas Bentner. Bentner it was who'd drifted away to that left-hand side. He tried to take on Isaksson with the shot.
Well, pulled out of it initially. I think maybe that first touch needed to lead him forward a little bit, because there was a little bit of space there to go around the defender. Just, I don't think he had the confidence, but already showing a little bit of pace and creating room in front of him.
Scored 11 goals in helping to lead Birmingham City back into the Premiership last year. Nicholas Bentner is only 19. Was swallowed up by Nielsen, but he's given it away. Now in his gap, it's across from Romadal, which flashes all the way through to Jorgensen. Denmark maintaining the pressure. Romadal. Forced back into defensive posture and shape, and then they're helped out by Romadal's lunge for the ball here.
It's always going to be difficult as you see the pullback here. So Freddie Ljungberg coming over to help out as well. I'm not sure why he didn't keep possession, but the significant part is now Poulsen, which I thought didn't play well in the first half, already getting more involved twice already, finding Romadal on the right-hand side.
Promise for Denmark. Romadal, this time isolated against Nielsen. Romadal to the byline. He went for goal himself. And did the ball cross the goal line? It appears it did. Denmark having their appeals for a corner upheld.
It must be something on this right-hand side as everybody's having. Yeah, it just bounced off. Thought it was a deflection initially, but once again, Romadal now finding a lot of room on the left-hand side, just like Wilhelmsson did in the first half. Patience, good and quick build-up by Denmark. They will need the second goal sometime soon to make Sweden a little bit more nervous.
Jakobsen to serve in the corner. Good looking trajectory to it, but Alexandersson with the clearance, and now Wilhelmsson. Sweden trying Trying to turn defensive to attack, but that's quickly smothered. The retreating Danish midfield. Rommedahl. Jakobsen. Side to Jorgensen. That was good defensive work by the very experienced Alexandersson.
Good defending, but you look at Sweden, they're setting the line of defense much lower right now, almost as if they're not interested, just looking for the counter-attack. I'll tell you, maybe in 5-10 minutes, I'd be surprised if you saw the likes of Rosenberg or perhaps Zlatan Ibrahimovic, because I just don't know if it's going to be wise for Sweden to start defending already. Plenty of time on the clock.
Jakobsen throw, the near post flick on arrives. It's eluded Rundal Thomason. Andreasen very high. Likewise with the shot on the turn.
A little bit of wishful thinking by Bentner there. It's done well just to bring that ball down, but always on the bounce, under pressure. Just not sure if he was going to be able to get a significant shot.
Certainly a name to keep an eye on, isn't he, Bentner? Signed a 5-year contract with Arsenal just last month. This is Wilhelmsson. His opposite number, Jakobsen, standing in his way. Mellberg winning the header. Oh, it falls for Martin Jorgensen. Switches the point of attack to Andreasen, who goes for the jackpot. Leon Andreasen, who's scored goals in the German Bundesliga plenty this season for a defender.
Good changing the point there by Jorgensen. Didn't really get hold of it, although had the space, had the room to go, and just the quality of the shot wasn't there, but can't blame him for taking that decision.
Andreasen, who was loaned out from Werder Bremen to Mainz, who finished in the bottom 3. Christian Poulsen, Danish Player of the Year for the last 2 seasons. It's a very soft control by Marcus Albach, but he ran back into trouble. Different sort of feel to the second half, isn't there, Janusz? Not the space, not the flowing counter-attacks that we saw in the first.
So especially with Wilhelmsson, they're picking him up much higher up the field.
Now Freddie Ljungberg has done well. Is this the hat-trick for Elmander? Well, somehow Sorensen has kept it out. I don't know how much he knew about it.
Well, Andreasen fell asleep, as you see here. Ball watching, not really sure. Look at Elmander just slipping behind, and look at that bit of a lock. The goalkeeper always needs, but this is ball watching. Andreasen must do much better here. Oof.
Well, if it went against Sorensen for Elmander's second goal, it certainly went with him here, because he got a left hand to it, but still sent it back towards goal. Just went the wrong side of the post for Elmander.
Sweden still very dangerous on the counter-attack. All it took was 2 passes, and Elmander in a tremendous position to put this game away.
Linderoth delivering the cross. Wilhelmsson. It's Rundal Thomason who's tracking him back. Wilhelmsson eludes 2 on the far side, but it's Thomason who can bring it away for Denmark. So, errant pass though.
He's just had a horrid game, hasn't he? Not sure what changes can be made here, but look at Rundal Thomason, and of course, great history, the captain, but just really not at his best at the moment.
Nielsen slipped as he played the crossfield ball, seeking out Wilhelmsson. It's fallen for Freddie Ljungberg. Ljungberg's cross. Elmander and Elbak have managed to get themselves into a succession of promising positions in this game. It's the Danish bench, Morten Olsen. Wondering how long he can wait before perhaps effecting a third and final change. Rommedahl, the relegation season as well for him with Charlton Athletic. We're rumoured to be moving back to Danish football and FC Copenhagen as the throw comes in from Andreasen. Rommedahl. The same wavelength of Andreasen, but unfortunately for them, so was Anders Svensson.
Just not sure why Andreasen has to be this aggressive there. He's got, as you see that flick from Rommedahl, and right there you got the player exactly where you want him. You do not have to win the ball, and you got him facing the wrong way, and just got to be patient here. Let him take that touch wherever it goes, inside or outside, and see if he can intercept it here. So way too aggressive for me.
Svensson in a much more conservative role today when he plays in club football. He's really an attacking midfield playmaker for Elfsborg. He's been in great form with 6 goals in 9 games. The Swedish league season, remember, runs from April to November. As the Danish one follows up most of the rest of Europe. It's been an increasing trend of Swedish players playing professionally in Denmark. Denmark were hoping for a hell for leather start to the second half. It hasn't quite materialised that way, and it looks as though Morten Olsen is going to use his last throw of the dice early. I think Jesper Grønkjær might be the man to come in.
They've had the possessional advantage, there's no question about that. As Sweden just playing a little bit deeper than they did in the first half, still very dangerous on the counter-attack, but of course this man perhaps can change the outcome here.
Jandal Thomason, Bentner falls invitingly. It's another missed kick, this time by Jorgensen. Denmark a little guilty of trying to force the issue just a tad too much. There's 2 promising kicks that have been missed, but this is Andreasen showing more promise, and a shot that looked good when it left his boot, but Isaksson able to see it clearly all the way.
A little bit of a deflection, plenty of power there, looking for the far post, and it was bending just a little bit. See the goalkeeper reading that very, very well.
Who do you bring Grønkjær on for here, Janusz? Another wide player. Seems to be so many of them out there.
Just thinking it might be Jorgensen this time around, or of course Jandal Thomason. Not very easy to take your captain off. It's always that chance that, of course, a prolific goal scorer takes us a second sometimes. Sometimes these forwards don't have to have great games.
Well, here he is. This is Jandal Thomason. His chance for Denmark, and he scores! Right on cue! Jandal Thomason brings Denmark back to within 1. A goal, really, that came out of nothing.
Oh, just incredible. For once I get it right here, and as you horrendous game here as you see that clearance here. Look at the header. See Hansen, that's well done just to win that. 2 players overcommitting here, not an easy one. Look, he takes himself a little bit too wide for my liking, but just picks out the far post, doesn't even look at it here. No chance for the goalkeeper. Now the game's on.
The second top scorer in Danish footballing history, Jandal Thomason, with goal number 46 of his national team career. And slowly and surely, hope is bubbling to the surface here for Denmark. Just at the vital point in the game, you felt that they had to strike, and I'll credit the part that Niklas Bentner played in that move. Not sure if it actually came off his head or off of Peter Hansen, but Denmark will now make the change, and it's Daniel Jensen who's going to be the man removed. So an attacking and bold move from Morten Olsen. It really has to be, doesn't it?
Oh, it really, and obviously there's going to be some reconfiguration going on the pitch. Going back to Jan Dahl Tomasson, really hasn't done anything in the game, but that's what you're being counted on. Sometimes you have to give the team hope. I think he has done that so far, and I just think that Sweden and Lars Lagerbäck has to react quickly for me. He's got to bring in Zlatan Ibrahimovic on the pitch. If he's ready to play, he's got to be there. Rosenberg at the very least, because if you look at Albach and Elmander, and even now they're struggling a little bit.
Dahl Tomasson going down. The duress from Svensson. Denmark 2, Sweden 3. And still 27 minutes plus stoppage time to go. Sweden, who are 3-0 up and sitting pretty, seen their lead eroded away.
Having plenty of time, momentum clearly going Denmark's way.
Jesper Grønkjær with his first piece of play. Looking for Bentner. Grønkjær on the right, Jorgensen on the left, and two centre forwards to aim for. Is it going to be an aerial barrage from Denmark? Certainly that ploy paid off. The build up to the goal, there was nothing pretty about it, was it? The long ball from Sorensen, the flick on.
But Denmark has to be very careful. Poulsen really the only man in the center of the midfield right now. We've seen what Sweden can do on the counter-attack, so when you have the possession, you got to take advantage of the chances you might have, but just got to make sure there's still plenty of time. Even though they're chasing the equalizer right now, they got to be careful so they don't give up the fourth.
So Dennis Rommedahl out there. There are so many speedy attacking options for Morten Olsen's Denmark side, but who's left to steady the ship in the centre of the park? Well, you said it, Janis. Christian Poulsen, that's it.
It looks at times like they're playing with three in the back as well for Denmark.
Bentner just overhitting his pass to Grønkjær. Sweden knew coming in that a win would put them in pole position in this group. It's a win that they're rather clinging to at the moment as Bentner makes further progress. And runs out of room in which to operate.
Oh, great move. Makes you wonder, why didn't he get that ball? Oh, he just touches it. I was wondering why that cross never came. He just touches there. Some struggling all the way through in defending.
Wait a long time in their history before qualifying for the finals of this tournament. 1992, the first time for Sweden. That was only as hosts. They do make it to Austria and Switzerland. It'll be only the fourth time, believe it or not, that Sweden have been there. Nielsen. Linderoth. Stretch this Denmark defence, but just a little too much on it. A little out of sorts at the moment, don't they? This is the theoretical table. If this result were to hold, Sweden would be top of the group, 2 points clear of Northern Ireland.
This would be a massive result for Sweden. Going away to Denmark, getting all 3 points, but still, they have to play for in this game alone, and you have to think that Sweden's a little bit nervous. Just still not sure why any substitutions haven't taken place as far as Sweden's concerned.
The game in the group sees Spain leading Latvia by a goal to nil. It's reflected in that table you saw. Now Lundberg, all back. Well, he hit a shot down into the ground. And at that velocity took it up and over the bar.
And once again, look at Romedal coming back. He's going to be asked with those strikers, really. There's a player with a little bit of pace that's going to be asked to come back and defend just a little bit. So it's going to be never going to be easy. Just finding the length of the field back and forth.
Yeah, it certainly deceived my eyes because it was Romedal who sent it over the bar. Here's the resulting corner. Mellberg coming highest, but no real venom behind his header. This is Gronkjaer. Jesper Gronkjaer, who was one of those players you never knew quite what you were going to get from in his 4 years with Chelsea.
Always in my mind, underperformed. Plenty of talent for Jesper Gronkjaer, but I just think that sometimes he chooses when to play and when not to play. I'm totally off on this one, but my expectations have always been higher for him.
It's sometimes infuriatingly inconsistent. Stamford Bridge fans. Played with the Jon Thomasson for a season at Stuttgart. And now back here. This is home ground with FC Copenhagen. Alexanderson sending sail into the Denmark half. Good accurate distribution as well. It's retrieved. Lundberg was leading for the ball. So Denmark were well stationed to deal with it. Romedal is covering a lot of ground now on the right.
He really is playing the right midfield position. Gronkjaer in front of him. He's doing massive work on both ends of the pitch.
Well, was that handball? Because Jesper Gronkjaer got there. He went full length to connect with the header. Certainly a huge shout for a handball from the Danish players, but not for long. Herbert Vandel is unmoved. Minutes to go. Promises to be very long and nail-biting 20 minutes for Sweden. If they're unable to further add to their tally, it's Wilhelmsson who's trying to do just that. Lundberg. Elmander. A positive run from Johan Elmander. This time it's a shot that was swallowed up, and Denmark on the counter-attack here. 3 forward. Make that 4 because Gronkjaer is the outlet. Gronkjaer's cross. Mellberg header away to the edge of the area. Denmark maintaining possession. But another shot all along the ground from Nicklas Bendtner.
Well, he was looking to spread this ball, but in the end really never got hold of it. No problems here. As you can see, a lot of power coming off of that shot. It's a quick outlet.
Shown a huge degree of maturity and poise in this game. Now, oh, it's a cracking effort. It was skewing wide though from Bendtner, who put it in the air this time all right.
He's showing the glimpses of how good he can be here as he settles that ball. That pressure comes from Mellberg. Cut him off the shot a little bit. I think he saw Mellberg stretching his leg out, but it was well done just to play that 1-2. Just bringing the ball down with his chest. Look at the manager. Olsen, I think, realizes that they've had 2 or 3 very good chances already in the game. I think the problem has been in defending in the first half. Ultimately, that could be their downfall, though plenty of time to get it right.
Gronkjaer coming back inside against Nielsen. And it's picked up by Poulsen. And Jorgensen trying to pick out Jon Dahl Tomasson. It's relentless Denmark possession and pressure at the moment.
Look at what Daniel Agger is already.
Jakobsen. Oh, what a fine curling cross that was.
They keep asking questions, aren't they? They just know. I mean, conceding a little bit in the back right now at the moment, but they have to get back in this game. I just wonder if they're going in for a win before they even draw the game. Taking a lot of risk, but perhaps it'll pay off long term.
Jakobsen with the corner. It's a fine header away. Miss hit follow-up, but it's fallen for Granqvist. There's an infringement note, which takes the momentum away from Denmark. Seems to have been given against Leon Andreasen.
I think he was in an offside position as he comes here to get this ball. He flicks it. I think they got it right, although it was Andreasen. Paulsen.
Denmark have made 3 switches. It's time for Sweden to make one here. And it's the goal scorer. Well, in fact, the scorer of 2 goals, Johan Elmander, who's going to be removed, but it's another marksman in the shape of Marcus Rosenberg, who's his replacement.
Well, really, no surprise here. I think Elmander has done his job here. You see 2 really nice goal to put Sweden in the position they're in right now, but I think he ran his socks off right now, and just waiting for Rosenberg to come in. Some tells me that Zlatan Ibrahimovic is not going to be risked here, perhaps not 100% just yet.
Rosenberg enjoyed a productive second half of the season after moving to Werder Bremen from Ajax. 8 goals in 14 appearances in the Bundesliga. Andreasen's throw. This was met by Petter Hansen. It'll be a corner. Just over a quarter of an hour to go. Denmark craving the goal that could well keep their European qualification hopes alive. That could be the difference for Morten Olsen's side. Defeat would see Sweden sailing well ahead of them. A draw perhaps mean a world of difference for Denmark. It was a header to be had for Daniel Agger, wasn't it? But it's skipped across to Jesper Grønkjær. Andreasen! Oh, what a finish! The great escape for Denmark. They've come all the way back from 3 goals down. And Andreasen with an equaliser. And a splendid one at that.
And we thought that Daniel Agger should have had it. That corner was well taken, nicely driven ball. The exact kind that you just want to put your head on it. But as that ball comes across, not much thinking goes into that. Traffic in front of the goalkeeper. Perfectly hit. What a goal to bring Denmark back.
He couldn't have hit it any finer. He couldn't have placed it in a sweeter spot. Leon Andreasen, in just his 3rd appearance for Denmark, his 1st goal. And the Werder Bremen man has brought this Scandinavian derby to a rousing conclusion here. Still a quarter of an hour to go. Who knows what else lies in wait for us. But Morten Olsen, absolutely unbridled joy for the Danish coach.
Well, Denmark really had nothing to lose. That first goal was so important before halftime. It gave them a little bit of hope. Now Sweden, of course, perhaps thought that they had the game won. I sensed it a little bit that they dropped off, and offensively they didn't really ask many questions. It's going to be really interesting for me. Denmark's going to be just happy to bring back to get that 1 point, or are they going to continue going after Sweden? I think they should do that. I think that game's there for taking right now.
Well, having come all the way back, climb to the top of the mountain, can they actually take it that 1 step further? Leon Andreasen, as you can see, was booked in the aftermath of celebrating his goal. But at the other end, it's Sweden pressing on. Alback with a sharp turn. Lundberg, he's in such a dangerous position, but the ball just bobbling away from him just as he was about to pull the trigger.
He's cramping up right here. Good decision right there at the end. Is it Andreasen that's just going to slide over here? Daniel Agger perhaps watching it a little bit too long. It's well done by Andreasen just to come in. Still think it's horrendous to book a player for celebrating. Never bought into that. Look at Lars Lagerbäck. But more questions must be asked of him if he ends up losing this game. Out right there after losing to Northern Ireland. How do you go away from home, lead 3-0, and find yourself all tied up?
Denmark sniffing. Could be yet more in this game for them. 3-0 down to 3-3 is truly remarkable. Christian Poulsen. Oh, it's onside. Jon Dahl Tomasson for Denmark. And the save from Isaksson. Unbelievably, the captain had a chance. And a great chance to put the Danes in front.
Similar the way he scored the first goal. I think just took a little bit too much time. Similar angle for him.
Lundberg through the centre it goes. And offside. Well, it's breathless stuff at the moment.
Goes back and forth. Poulsen, look at that ball. Look how great the touch is. Here's that look. I almost wonder if he could have given that ball to his right foot. Really, this time the goalkeeper read it well, although he never had the height of the first goal that he scored.
Now it's Bentner for Denmark. Sweden all at sea defensively. Tomasson back to Bentner on the turn, but right into the midriff of Isaksson.
And 6s and 7s at the moment. Sweden are really, every ball splits the defense right there. Bentner showing a little bit of passion, a little bit of poise right there, and keeping the possession. It was the right thing to do. The shot was pretty good, but the goalkeeper exactly where he needed to be. And here they come again.
Waves of Danish attacks at the moment. Sweden looking rather shell-shocked at the back.
I love this game. Nothing cynical about it. The type of football that I think everybody enjoys. Of course, a lot at stake, but even Sweden still continue going forward.
Niklas Bentner finally cracked a shot with the velocity he's been trying to produce in the last 3 or 4 efforts. Unfortunately for him, it was right at the goalkeeper. Here's another change for the Swedes with Marcus Alback being removed, and Bakircioglu, the man who plays his football in Holland with Twente, will be moving to Ajax in the summer. Kennedy Bakircioglu really plays as an attacking midfielder, Janusz.
Obviously more strength in the midfield. At the moment, Denmark running riot. See here.
It's Bakircioglu immediately involved and trying to pick out the other substitute, Rosenberg, with his cross.
Rosenberg might be the lone striker, although you see Freddie Ljungberg in the center right now. That was the position that was occupied by Freddie Ljungberg. You saw him crimping up a little bit, so perhaps he will not have to run as much. Well, it's the substitution, but if that's the case, it almost makes you wonder why not take Freddie Ljungberg out if he's not at 100%.
6 goals, and 3 of them have come from centre-backs. 1 from that man, Daniel Agger. Andreasen with the equaliser for Denmark. Petter Hansen earlier on, the free kick for Sweden. Game that's really had a little bit of everything. And now the space is still something to behold. Midfield almost being bypassed at times. Jorgensen, the layoff, and Bentner, well, he should have done better, and he knows it. It was set up, teed up for him perfectly by Tomasson's touch.
Oh, Jorgensen just picks him out. Oh, look at Tomasson, you're absolutely right. There was pressure right there. Really didn't have much to think about it, but he's been involved in the game, and I think it's causing all kinds of problems for Sweden. Not just Bentner, but you have numbers. You have 4, 5, 6 players in the attacking zone, and the midfielders will have to come back. I thought initially that Linderoth, for me, was player of the match, but right now they're being overrun. Just sheer number of players just buzzing around for Denmark.
I've seen it work at so many different occasions for Jose Mourinho, haven't we? Throwing extra attackers on, throwing caution to the wind. And it's worked in some style here, but you're so right, Janusz. Bentner's presence has really given Denmark a completely different look in the second half as Paulsen flights in the free kick. Jesper Grønkjær on the turn. Carved out some space for himself, and, well, they were queuing up for the header there. Would have been 3 Danish players could have helped themselves. It was Gravgaard who eventually took it on.
Just didn't generate any power. You see 2 players going very, very difficult, looking for that far post. But it was Grønkjær that initially looked for a little bit of help when he had the ball to the back of the goal. He was hoping perhaps that Rommedahl is going to be making that run. Eventually just turned, really bypassing 2 Swedish defenders too easily, in my opinion.
Thomasson it was who actually got the final touch, and it's Thomasson who's down now, poleaxed by a really nasty challenge from Tobias Linderoth.
Well, he's turned his game around. Jan Dahl Tomasson, of course, very much involved, and no question about Linderoth here. Very dangerous tackle from behind, as you see it here. Oof, no question about that. The referee right away pulling the yellow card out.
Scything challenge, wasn't it, from the FC Copenhagen man. Jakobsen with the restart for Denmark. Nothing comes from it this time as Thomasson's header is right through to the goalkeeper, and now the space is with Sweden. Wilhelmsson. Known as perhaps the fastest player on the Swedish side, Christian Wilhelmsson. Nielsen it was who was obstructed.
Andreasen here, just a little bit of a push here, but going back to Wilhelmsson, we haven't seen much of it, and a lot of credit I think has got to go to this man Jakobsen right there. Although you see him switch a little bit. He hasn't had the joy as he had in the first half.
Rosenberg. Wilhelmsson. And do Sweden have the spirit of adventure to press on and try and still claim the full 3 points here? 3 points that they must have thought were theirs with a half an hour gone of this game. And leading 3-0. A huge amount of credit must go to that man's side, Morten Olsen. He was seriously considering leaving the helm of Denmark after their failure to qualify for the World Cup, as Bentner makes progress here, but Nielsen nicks it away. Had a lot of offers from some big clubs in Europe, Morten Olsen, but he decided to stay with Denmark. Through to 2010 he's signed. Grønkjær falls for Bentner. Tries to spin and turn.
Well, he was looking for Jan Dahl Tomasson there. I thought he had enough room just to have a go at the goal. It's been massive, really, on both sides. A little bit of a target man lately, and with 4 attackers, really have to keep moving around. Grønkjær has been positive as well, keeping the width.
Sweden forced to defend very deep here as Grønkjær goes for the byline. And a corner will be his reward. Some heavy legs, some exhausted minds out there. Sweden, once again, reverting to the role of hanging on here, right in front of their own fans as well. Corner is met by Bentner, but the header away from goal. Jorgensen it was, who was fouled by Rosenberg.
I think it's the last pull. Both players going for the ball. Didn't see much in there, but Rosenberg just kept his hand.
Oh, and a stinging drive, which Isaksson does well to fingertip away. It was Martin Jorgensen quickly from the restart.
Oh, look at the quality of that shot, and look at the quality of the save right there. It's that ball. Look at almost no movement on it. Sheer power right there. Well read by the goalkeeper.
Grønkjær with the corner. More comfortable this time for Andreas Isaksson. He sent Sweden in motion. It's a run from Bakircioglu, which looked to be a fruitful one. Svensson. Wilhelmsson. Sorts of jostling for position inside the centre. In fact, that jostling turned into a confrontation and a player down. It's been such a cleanly played game.
It really has been. I think the referee is going to run over to the assistant referee just to see if there's anything cynical there. Just wondering if the first goal is still an elbow.
And Daniel Agger is down. The referee's reaching for the back pocket, which doesn't look good for Denmark. And the colour is going to be red. Daniel Agger. Well, they've got to cool themselves down here, Denmark. In fact, there's, I think, a fan on the pitch who's protesting. And the Danish players, to their credit, were the ones to react to try and get him out of the picture.
If indeed that happened, really stupid. The good news is, I suppose it's 2 minutes to go, but really Denmark had all the momentum. Sure, is it? Who is it as you see it here? Wilhelmsson. Where is the... Oh, there's no question about that. It's Poulsen, isn't it? Right there, that's just pure stupidity. It really has no place. You come back in the game. I'm not sure why you need to do that. I mean, what frustration. Really, something must have been said there. I mean, you don't react like that, but really, you've got to keep your nerve. Of course, they're going to lose in the next game. Who knows, maybe more than one game when UEFA looks at this. Not just really an experienced player. Very stupid. Even if you were drawn into this somehow, which I have to... He's going to be a supporter, I would hope.
Yeah, that was a supporter. You could see the Danish players trying to get rid of it immediately because the referee's safety under threat. They're actually within their rights to suspend the game. What an unfitting ending to this game, which has been played in such a good spirits. An ugly end, and indeed Herbert Vandal has decided to lead the officials and the players off.
I really can't argue this situation. When you look at the clock, 90th minute almost, I mean, there might have been one or two. You see the supporters, of course, not happy, not sure, but they're just supporters. And you see one running out. I don't think there are any questions here about the red card. I think this is, obviously, as you see it, the referee being attacked, and you never know what's going to happen. They got to look after each other, and in the 90th minute, I can't disagree with this. Obviously, Denmark's going to be ahead with a ban or whatever it may be, but just stupidity on the part of Poulsen, of course, on the part of the supporters as well. It's really anticlimactic, Adrian. I mean, it's been a superb game. Nothing cynical, as I've mentioned before. What a great comeback by Denmark. Not sure why the shaking of the hand here. I think this is the right decision to suspend this game.
Oh, what a tragedy. A Danish tragedy. And the crowd here knowing that something very special is in danger of being taken away from them here, because it was a game that had everything going for it, including a remarkable comeback by the home side. A game played in the spirit that exists between these two nations, that of friendly competition. And then an isolated incident really in the game, no doubt about it. Christian Poulsen lost his cool, lost his head. He was provoked, but he reacted in a way that was really unbecoming of this game.
We can only assume that he was provoked in there. I mean, something had to be said. I mean, you know, there was really no danger there. The cross hasn't been made. Wilhelmsson's having the ball. There are two Danish defender right in front of him. So something must have been said right there, and just obviously unsettle him. And that, to me, is just incredible. You know, it does happen all over the world sometimes. You know, there'll be question about stewards, but obviously if somebody's stupid enough, I mean, you can't have enough of him to make sure that nobody gets on the pitch unless you put up fences. That's something that we don't want to see, but just stupidity. And I think in the end, Denmark, the only thing they're happy about is that they mounted this comeback. In the end, you're going to have Poulsen suspended. You may not have, you talked about the number of games they still have left to play at home, and I'm just wondering if they're going to have another one.
Well, the irony is that Denmark have been recognized throughout the world as having some of the best supporters. They even have a supporters group called the Rolligans. The opposite of hooligans is how they brand themselves, known for their calm and cheerful support. And Well, it only takes one idiot, doesn't it?
Well, it does. We've seen it happen. Well, like I said, many will say suspensions, this and that, but, I feel sometimes for the stewards because it's very difficult. You never know. All it takes is one crazy person to make it happen. And so, an unfortunate end to this a great game.
Well, we'll come back and try and wrap things up for you here from Copenhagen. Denmark 3, Sweden 3. Welcome back in Copenhagen. It's Olaf Melberg you're looking at, who's gone over to applaud the Swedish fans. It was a 6-goal thriller that we witnessed here. Adrian Healy with Janusz Michalak alongside. A game, Janusz, that had a little bit of everything. And maybe a little bit more yet.
Oh, more than we asked for, and just as I mentioned, it's just very, very unfortunate. I mean, it was a superb game. I don't remember last time when you play. I mean, so much at stake. The way these teams played. Sweden came on the road and obviously had that 3-0 lead. And of course, we saw a different team in the second half from Denmark, and it almost looked like Denmark were going to go ahead. And wow.
Well, they've done what they officially were able to do, and that is award the game to Sweden, believe it or not. That appears to be the official verdict here. Whenever there's a crowd disturbance, the officials are within their right to award the game to the visitors, and it looks like that's the course they've taken.
Well, and I'll tell you, I mean, first it's the stupidity of Poulsen. That late, I think, obviously, that's what got the, we can talk about the supporters all you want. I mean, they can do it at any time, but after mounting such a comeback for Poulsen to react, I don't care what has been said. We've had this situation with Zinedine Zidane, of course, and Materazzi. I mean, you have to hold your nerves, and I think, Poulsen started all that, obviously, and it's just unfortunate. Now you have one crazy supporter that ran out, and now all that work, all the work that Denmark has done to come back in this game will not pay off, and they're going to lose all 3 points and put themselves in a difficult situation.
Well, Jon Dahl Tomasson and the Danish players, obviously, how do you pick yourself up from this? You come all the way back from 3 goals down, as you said, Janusz. Really played a part in an enthralling game. To lose it in that manner, right at the end, really in a non-footballing manner, just... well, it beggars belief, doesn't it?
Well, really, I mean, UEFA is going to deal with Poulsen. I think the Danish Federation will have to. I mean, of course, I've been a player. I know these moments come in the game, but it's just incredible. I mean, how do you go back and how do you explain what happened? The supporters, obviously, the Danish Federation will have to deal with that. This person will probably be in jail, as far as I'm concerned. Certainly will not be let back in to watch any of the footballing matches in Denmark, that's for sure. But it just incredible ending. One that will be talked about by all the pundits for the weeks to come.
Well, the actions of one individual might well have ruined 90 minutes of endeavour for Morten Olsen. Might well have ruined Denmark's chances of making Austria and Switzerland next summer. Let's not take anything away from Sweden's achievement. And now their 3 points, Janusz, put them in a fantastic position in Group F. And Denmark could well be out of the running.
Well, Sweden has been fantastic for me. I mean, take away that loss to Northern Ireland, which, by the way, can happen. I mean, we can't just say that there was a horrible game for Sweden. I think Northern Ireland, of course, have been overachieving a little bit, but they have been legitimate. And so for Sweden, it really has been just that one game, and they've continued to play well.
So that's it. The verdict is a victory for Sweden, and a game that will be remembered for a long, long time. Hope you enjoyed our coverage here. It was a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For Janusz Michalak and all our crew, I'm Adrian Healy. It's goodbye from Copenhagen.